Hi everyone, Karen here, and today I have a different project for you. We're going to be cutting and embossing vinyl, and we are going to be using the MIDI machine here. And yes, I found out a combination that works for embossing on the MIDI. So let's go over what we're going to be doing here. I have a 5x7 paper, and this is either from the Year of Craft or one of the sub boxes. I'm not sure because I put all my 8x8 paper together. I'm going to be using the Quirky Christmas trees from Watercolor Christmas. And I also have a Merry Christmas die here. And everything is going to get cut out in vinyl and embossed. Now, this will work with the mini or the MIDI. And hopefully I don't trip over those two words. If you're going to use the MIDI, get a junior embossing mat. You're going to need your MIDI shim and a folder. Now, if you want to use the mini, you will need the mini folder, the mini shim, and just cut a piece down of a mat that I know we all have them that we've destroyed. Just cut a piece off of one down to the size of the mini, and that will work just fine. All right, so I'm going to use the MIDI ones just so you can see with the junior mat. Oh, I'm going to trip over these words today. With the junior mat that we didn't have to cut. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to lay the embossing mat on the shim. I'm going to lay the vinyl down. I'm going to cut this down because I don't need this big, huge piece here. Because I want one more small tree. Now the vinyl does tend to roll up, so you may want to tape it down. So I'm just going to grab some tape. Let me get a fresh piece. And this blue tape here is painter's tape. I use it a lot in my craft room. It really is great. It doesn't normally tear the paper, and in a case like this where I'm using vinyl, nothing's going to tear it. All right, so I'm going to tape this down. So I have the shim, I have the embossing mat, and now I'm going to take only one side of the folder. So if you have folders that have broken apart, or if you want to cut one apart, you can, but this will absolutely work if you just leave your folder together. And I am going to put this through the machine. And once you get to the other side, this will just slide on through. All right, let me take this off. And it has now embossed. Now it didn't cut all the way through. So what now is I'll just put it back into my folder. Make sure it stayed in place. Close this up. Run this through my machine. Now, I have cut and embossed using my MIDI. Just like that. And like I said, if you want to use the mini, just cut down an embossing mat. Easy peasy. So look at that. Now let's talk about the wording here. Let me put this back before I lose it. Now the red here is a foil vinyl. So that's going to cut a little bit different. So I am going to put this down here. I'm going to tape it down. Put it in the folder here. I'm going to put another piece of tape on the other side. I really don't want this to move. All right. Now, because it is a foil on the back, I'm going to run this through. Wait until I'm sure it came out the other side. And now I'm going to run it back through. And that's just because it's foil. Now I can see it cut. As you can see, it's already coming away from the paper. So now we have a Merry and a Christmas all cut, ready to go. And I'm not going to touch it because I want it to stay sticky. So I'm going to lay this over here while we get the rest of it ready. Oh, we have one more thing to cut. So I want to put the stars on top. So let's see, which star do I want? So I have 2 little trees and 1 big tree. I think I already cut out 2 stars. I think I'll just cut out a 3rd one here. So this also is a foil. So I'm going to put that in here and run it through. I was brave, I didn't tape it down. And that has cut out all ready to go. So basically this turns everything into stickers. But there's so many textures. There's flocking, there's glitter, there is, so many different things that they make vinyl out of, and it will all stick on your card. All right, so I think that is everything cut out. So now let's start putting this card together. All right, so let's bring in the 5x7. Now I do want to cut a piece of this white. Now I'm going to cut this. Let me bring in my trimmer here. Pull this up. I'm just going to feed it under here because it does curl. If you can buy it by the sheet, you won't have this problem. So I'm going to cut off about 2 inches off the bottom here. And now I'm going to cut this to 7 inches, the length of my card. Make sure my arm is all the way up. Because sometimes if you think your guillotine is not cutting straight, make sure your arm is all the way up. Because sometimes here it can catch the edge of your paper. So always make sure your guillotine arm is all the way up. Alright, so now I have a 2x7 here. Now this is going to be the snow on the bottom of my card. Now just like I would do ground, if this was paper, I want to cut kind of a wavy pattern here. So I'm just going to start here and just cut, just like if it was paper, just a nice little wavy pattern here. Just like that. Alright, so now we're ready. Alright, so we have our 5x7 front. I'm going to peel this off. Go. Now if you wanted to, you could cut this a little longer and then trim it down if you weren't sure if you were going to be able to line it up, because this is a one-time stick. Once it's down, it's down. Alright, so there is our snow. Now we need to place our trees. I want the big one in the middle and the 2 smaller ones on either side. Now I also need to put in the Merry Christmas, so I have to decide where I want to put that. So let me pull the Christmas here, and we pick up the Merry. Actually, let me grab the die, because unlike paper, I can't lay this down and kind of get it centered. So if the tree here is in the middle, I think I want the H right under that middle tree. That looks about right. Somewhere between the C and the H in Christmas. So I'm going to put Merry back down here. I'm going to take my Christmas. I think I may turn this on its side, just so I can see a little bit better. I'm going to come right over here to where the tree is and press that down. Now we'll take the Merry, and it looks like there's a little piece in the E. Let me just push that out. I'm just going to lay this down on the backing paper and stick my pokey tool in there and get the center out of the E. Now Merry will come over here. Like that. Make sure the Mary's not hanging down here. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to peel and stick the trees. These make very quick cards. But I couldn't believe when I tried that this morning and it embossed. Alright, so the backing material is indeed paper. So you can see it embossed that too. So absolutely, the embossing paper will work this way. So I'm going to put the Christmas tree here. Alright, one here. We will put one over here. Just have to get it started. There we go. Think about here. And we'll put one more in over here. Yeah, I mean this is quick. Quick. And sometimes your backing paper may rip a little bit, but that's fine. It just peels right off. So this one will go here. About here. Now we have our stars. These are all the same. This was the foil. Get it started. There we go. I mean, this would even be a great one to do with the kids. You can just cut everything out for them and they can stick everything on. Here is one. I think my little junior crafter may be making cards like this. Yeah, but any die will work to do this. And now I'm thinking I want to try the sticker sheets and see what happens. All right, get this other backing paper off. All right, we'll put this one on here. And look, that card front is done. Look at that. It is all done. Nice and flat for mailing. It is good to go. All right, so let's move all this out of the way and attach it to the card. So I have my 5x7 card base here. So that's going to go all the way across. Because see, I needed the space for the Merry Christmas and the star. So that's why I'm not putting a border on it. This really did need the whole length of the 5x7. Alright, so let's glue this on. And since this is flush, we just tap, 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 and hold it down for a second. Now while that grabs, let me talk about the inside. So for the inside, I have a 3x4 and a 4x5. And this is the same paper, so it matches for the inside. So I have this to go on here, and I wanted a little bit bigger framing around my messaging, just because there was a pattern on here. So I wanted to show the pattern off. But it looks a little plain. So I'm going to take the Midas Bronze ink, and I'm going to go around the outside of this here. And I'm going to edge this. Just to give that a little bit more something on the inside. I'm going to glue this together. This will go on here. And we got that in the center. Give that a second to grab. Let's see if this is all good. That's all good. Let's put some glue on the back here, and this card is done. that just goes in the center. And this card is finished. So yes, you can cut vinyl with your machines, and you can emboss with your MIDI. Now I do have another project that's in the works using the iron-on vinyl to make some home decor. So stay tuned later in the week for that one. But this absolutely works. I hope you enjoyed this card. If you did, give me a thumbs up. And please consider subscribing to my channel. And until next time, stay crafty.